Hey, shalom, shalom. Anak nawaha ay boria shala. Hawalakim la atam. Call Shabawai Barucha Wakak Shaw Yahweh Bahasham. Yahweh Shah Ma'amath, which is truly hey with the Hebrew Israelites coming to you week in and week out through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahasham. Yahweh Shah to preach to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, Haitians, and Israelite foreigners. Nacham Atam, Kaya, Hamalakwa, Hashemayim, Korah, repent ye, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Call Halayim La, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shah Bahasham, Racha HaKodash, Wamashana, Kabadim Zukoim, Wamalakim, Shaw, Yashala Zukoim, Chagana, Wa Chasai, Washalam, Wabarakim, Laha Bacharim, Shaw, Gawaya Shah Shalom. Right, so all praise to the Most High Yahweh, which means He exists. Bahasham, in the name Yahweh Shah, He delivers double honor to those and the apostles of Israel, those and the apostles of Great Millstone, and mercy, peace, and blessings to the elect of the nation of Israel. Shalom, which means peace. All right, today's lesson is entitled Bayath Shah Shalamah, which is the Solomon's Temple, or the first temple. All right, La Marshana, to say again, Bayath Shah Shalamah, Solomon's Temple. All right, I want to get this. This is 2 Samuel, or Slap. 2 Dabaryam Hayamayim Chronicles, chapter 3, we'll get verse 1. So it says, Then Shalamah, Solomon, began to build the house of the Lord at Yerushalayim, Jerusalem, in Mount Moriah, which is Moriah, or Moriah, where the Lord appeared unto David his father, in the place that David had prepared in the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite. And he began to build in the 2nd day of the month, in the 14th year of his reign. So it says, Now these are the things which Shalamah was instructed for the building of the house of the Most High. The length by the cubits, and after the first measure was 60 cubits, and the breadth 20 cubits, which just goes into like essentially how it's being built up. All right, because Malak Shalamah, all right, King Solomon, who was Yahweh Shah in the regeneration, all right, he received the blueprint from King David. All right, so I want to go into that word Moriah. All right, and it says it's a compound word. It comes from Ra'ah, Yah, which that's the shortened form of the Lord's name, Yahweh. All right, which it means chosen by the Lord. All right, and I want to touch on that. So it says Ra'ah, all right, which that means to see. All right, but then you go down here, it says Strong's H4179, it says Moriah, and then it says Moriah, which that Y will be connected to the Y. All right, I'm actually write it down or type it up. So, all right, the word is Moriah. All right, it can be spelled two ways. All right, the first one will be Mara Yah. All right, then we got Mara Yah. All right, which they both go into the same thing, but the thing about the one with the Y, all right, essentially it will be connected to the Ma. All right, that's why they both had the same sound. Going back to this, where it says the Strong's H4179, it says Maraya and Maraya. All right, they both go into the same thing. That's why it says right here too. It says they're both, so you know it will be pronounced somewhat similar, but just the second one will have the Y in it. All right, but it says Maraya, of a hill of Yerushalayim, on which Shalamah built the temple. All right, it says the land of Moriah. All right, that will be Ha'aratazah Shah Moriah. The region around that mountain, its vicinity as the district of Moriah. All right, which when you go into that, That's around the same area that Yahweh Shah was crucified on Golgotha. All right. But it says, chosen by Yahweh, a name suitable, which is very suitable for a sanctuary. I'm read it again. It says, i.e., chosen by Yahweh, a name which is very suitable for a sanctuary. All right. And that's where the temple was built, a place of worship. And the Lord works with regeneration, you see. So kingdoms are regenerated. All right. People are regenerated. And the things that those people did, those things are regenerated. So let's get that real fast. And we can come back to this. This is Quahalath, Ecclesiastes, chapter 1 and verse 9. So it says, the thing that hath been is that which shall be, and that which is done is that there shall. So let me read it again. It says, the thing that hath been is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. So pretty much things are regenerated, because the scriptures say the Lord don't change, just like the scriptures say that the Lord chose him one only pit, one vine, roughly paraphrasing. Let's go back to this. Let me get that word for Marayah again. I'm actually get it from Genesis. Because what we'll see is that, Yahweh Shah returned back to that same area. All right, Shalamah, King Solomon, Malak Shalamah, who was Yahweh Shai in the regeneration. All right, and then also Yatazachak, Isaac. All right, it was a spiritual foreshadowing, or it was a regeneration. All right, let's go to that. This is Bara'ash, Genesis chapter 22. Skip down to the point. Salak Laya. Right here. All right, this goes into chosen. All right, which is Ra'ah, which when you go into Ra'ah, it says it'll be inside further in the blue letter. Right here it says to see. I'm gonna skip down. It says to look, to view, to behold. Or it says to despise, to regard, have respect to provide. Right there, to provide. Or it says to provide anything for oneself, to choose, to procure for oneself. All right, and the Lord chose that area to use that area. You see, He chose that area to use for when Isaac, when Abraham was to take Isaac to, because the Lord had told him to offer his son, and that was the area that He took him to. All right. Also, the sanctuary was placed on that same mountain, the temple, all right, where the believers worship at. All right, but the temple was a foreshadowing of the true temple. All right, the third temple, which is the spiritual temple. All right, which I'm gonna touch briefly on the first, the second, and the third. You see, because the third is being built right now. That spiritual temple, which is the believers. All right. So let's go into this. This is Bara'ash, Genesis chapter 22 and verse 1. It says, and it came to pass after these things that the Most High did tempt Abraham, and said unto him, Abraham, and he said, behold, here I am. And he said, take now thy son, thine only son, Yatazachak, whom thou lovest, and get thee into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which I will tell thee of. And Abraham rose up early in the morning and saddled his ass, and took 2 of his young men with him, and Yatazachak his son, and clave the wood for the burnt offering, and rose up and went unto the place which the Most High had told him. Then on the 3rd day Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place afar off. And Abraham said unto his young men, abide here with the ass, and I and the lad, which will be Yalad, will go yonder and worship and come again to you. And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering, laid it upon Yatazachak his son, and he took the fire in his hand and a knife, and they went both of them together. And Yatazachak spake unto Abraham his father, and said, my father. And he said, here I am, my son. And he said, behold the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering? And Abraham said, my son, the Most High will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering. So they went both of them together. So I'm going to go into this word, provide. Yep, Ra'ah. Going back to chosen of the Lord, because the Lord chose that place, and that lamb, foreshadowing of what was going to be offered for that offering, was Yahweh Shah, who was Isaac in the regeneration. All right, that was a foreshadowing, a similitude. So it says they went both of them together, and they came to the place which the Most High had told him of, and Abraham built an altar there, and laid wood in order, and bound Yatazachak his son, and laid him on the altar upon the wood. And Abraham stretched forth his hand and took the knife to slay his son. And the angel of the Lord came unto him out of heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here I am. And he said, Lay not thy hand upon the lad, neither do thou anything unto him. For now I know that thou fearest the Most High, seeing thou hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, from me. And Abraham, which it was a test. So it says Abraham lifted up his eyes, and which it shows the scriptures say that there's no uncommon thing to man. Roughly paraphrasing, pretty much going into how all the men of the Lord will be tested. So it says, and he said, Lay not thy hand upon the lad, not to do anything unto him. For now I know that thou fearest the Most High, seeing thou hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, from me. And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, behind him a ram caught in a thicket by his horns. And Abraham went and took the ram and offered him up for a burnt offering in the stead of his son. And Abraham called the name of the place Yahweh, should be Yarah. It says Yahweh Yara'ah. All right, which I believe that Yara'ah goes into either chosen or the Lord provides. Well, it goes into all of that because that word was Ra'ah. All right, so it's the Lord chose. All right, the Lord provided, and then that word Ra'ah also goes into see. Yep, right there it says, and it says, and it is said to this day, in the mount of the Lord it shall be seen. Let me get this in the NLT. It says Abraham named the place Yahweh Yara'ah, which means the Lord will provide. To this day, people still use that name as a proverb. On the mountain of the Lord it will be provided. You see that, and what's spiritual about that is that it goes into provide, it goes into be seen, and it also goes into it's the same word that goes into marayah. All right, which that the ra part is because it's a compound word. All right, when it goes into the ra'ah part, that's what the ra stands for. Going back to this word right here, mara'ah, or so not mara'ah, marayah. The ra part, because again it's a compound word. I'm gonna click onto the word compound word. It says from ra'ah and yah, which the yah part is short for the Lord's name, Yahweh. All right, then you got ra'ah, which ra'ah we got with those, man. It says to perceive, to consider. It says to approve. All right, it says go back into the lexicon. It says to see. All right, then you got to provide, to choose anything for oneself. The Lord provided that area. The Lord provided. The Lord provides everything, you see, but more specifically, that was the place that the Lord provided. All right, going back to it says, and Abraham called the name of that place Yahweh Yara'ah, and as it is said to this day, in the mount of the Lord it shall be seen. That was that was the area that the Lord chose. The area of Mount Moriah. All right, and then also what's spiritual about that as well is the temple was placed there. All right, and also the temple was placed there. Because the Lord works with regeneration. Let's get this. This is first the Barim Hayamayim, also Chronicles, chapter 28. We get verse 11, and it says, Then David gave to Shalamah his son the pattern of the porch, and the houses thereof, and of the treasuries thereof, and the upper chambers thereof, and of the inner parlors thereof, and of the place of the mercy seat, and the pattern of all that he had by the Spirit, because everything is spiritual. It says of the courts of the house of the Lord, and all of the chambers round about, and of the treasuries of the house of the Most High, and the treasuries of the dedicated things, also of the courses of the priests and the Levites, and for all the work of the service of the house of the Lord, and for all the vessels of service in the house of the Lord. All right, so everything was given through the Spirit, because going back to King David, he wanted to build the Lord a house, but the Lord said he had too much blood in his hands because he was a man of war. So let me get this real fast. When you go into this word pattern, right here, pattern, it says Thabnayath. All right, in which that pretty much goes into the blueprint. All right, it says structure, model, or resemblance, figure, similar to. All right, pretty much going into how it's gonna be made. It says structure, manner of building, the blueprint. Let me get this. This is 2 Samuel Allah, also Samuel chapter 7. We'll get verse 1. All right, and it reads, it says, and it came to pass when the king sat in his house, the Lord had given him rest round about from all his enemies, that the king said unto Nathan the prophet, see now I dwell in the house of cedar, but the ark of the Most High dwelleth within curtains. You see, and which cedar is cedar is like one of the most expensive woods. Super expensive. It says, and Nathan said to the king, go do all that is in thine heart, for the Lord is with thee. And it came to pass that night that the word of the Lord came unto Nathan, saying, go and tell my servant David, thus saith the Lord, shalt thou build me an house for me to dwell in, whereas I have not dwelt in any house since the time that I brought up the children of Yasha'Allah out of Egypt, even to this day. But I have walked in a tent. I walked in a tent and in a tabernacle. It says, in all the places wherein I have walked with all the children of Yasha'Allah, spake I a word with any of the tribes of Yasha'Allah, whom I commanded to feed my people, Israel, saying, why build me yea not an house of cedar? You see, because the Lord doesn't dwell, or the Lord isn't Salah. The Lord isn't to worship the Lord, you don't have to go to a temple. That's why the Lord isn't with these churches. You see, now we have had a temple, the first temple, the second temple, you see, but ultimately in the end, the Lord's his plan was to pretty much have a third temple built, which is the elect believers. All right. So it says, now therefore shalt thou say unto my servant David, thus saith the Lord of hosts, I took thee from the sheepcote, from following the sheep, to be ruler over my people, over Israel. And I was with thee whithersoever thou wentest, and I have cut off all thine enemies out of thy sight, and have made thee a great name, like unto the name of the great men that are in the earth. Moreover, I will appoint a place for my people Israel, and I will plant them, that they may dwell in a place of their own, and move no more. Neither shall the children of wickedness afflict them any more as before time, and as since the time that I commanded judges to be over my people Yasha'Allah, and have caused thee to rest from all thine enemies. Also the Lord telleth thee that he will make thee an house. And when thy days be fulfilled, thou shalt sleep with thy fathers. I will set up thy seed after thee, Malak Shalamah, who is Yahweh Shah, which shall proceed after thy bowels, and I will establish his kingdom. And it says, he shall build an house for my name. I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. I will be his father, and he shall be my son. For if he commit iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of men and the stripes of the children of men. Which it said that he shall build a house, which that's spiritual, because the house is built off that chief cornerstone, who is Yahweh Shah. You see, in King David, he wanted to build the house. You see, but each time the temple or house is being constructed, King David, was there. He offered the blueprint to Malak Shalamah. All right, same like in the third temple, King Masha, Malak Masha. All right, he's King David in the regeneration. All right, which in the time of the first temple, all right, the blueprint, King David gave a blueprint to Malak Shalamah. All right, but it says, I will chasten him with the rod of men and the stripes of the children of men, and which that didn't happen when Yahweh Shah was King Solomon. That happened when he came and walked the earth as Yahweh Shah. All right. But nevertheless, let me get this just to prove that point. This is Matthew chapter 16 and verse 18. It says, and I say also unto thee that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. All right, pretty much, Esau, and these heathen wouldn't have any power over, or more specifically, Esau would not have any power over, the elect. The elect. The scriptures say that there is no enchantment against Jacob, or ultimately going into the elect. It's nothing that Esau can do for, to snatch the elect from the Lord. But let me get this. It says, "Upon this rock, I will build my church." Now let me get this right here. It says build. Let me get the word for build, and it says to build a house, erect a building, to build up from the foundation. All right, what's spiritual about that was because it says to be a house builder or to construct. All right, so with the first temple, King David, who was Peter in the regeneration, he gave the blueprint to Malak Shalamah. All right, and the third temple, all right, going into this rock, all right, it was built on the foundation of or on that rock. It was built on Peter. He was the head apostle. All right. I'm gonna read the verse 19. It says, "And I will give unto thee the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatsoever thou shalt bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatsoever thou shalt loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven." And that's pretty much his position that he had under Yahweh Shai. You got the Most High Yahweh, you got Yahweh Shai, and you got King David. All right, let's go into that. Let's go into Second Esdras. This is Second Esdras chapter 5, and we'll get verse 23. All right, and it reads. It says, "And said," I'm gonna read from verse 22. It says, "And my soul recovered the spirit of understanding. I began to talk with the Most High again, and said, O Lord, that bearest rule over every wood of the earth, Selah, and of all the trees thereof." All right, the trees being the people. "Thou hast chosen thee only one vine, and of all the lands of the whole world, thou hast chosen thee one pit." All right, and that pit is Yerushalayim, Jerusalem. "And of all the flowers thereof, one lily." All right, the Lord is always deals with one nation. It says, "And of all the depths of the sea, thou hast filled thee one river, and of all the builded cities, thou hast hallowed Zion unto thyself." All right, the Lord hallowed Zion to himself. That's what the Lord chose. All right, so who's chosen by the Lord? All right, specifically the elect. All right, you see, but it can be applied to the whole nation and the kingdom. Because 2/3 they can come back and they're gonna receive salvation in the kingdom after they be destroyed on this side. But the Lord is about choosing. You see, so the Lord. I said the Lord is about choosing, but the Lord has favorites pretty much. And what's chosen by the Lord are the elect is chosen by the Lord. All right, so let me get this. Let me get which that serves as a foreshadowing as well. It shows that the Lord has favorites, and then also going back to Moriah, the temple was placed up there. You see, and again, the Lord chose the elect. So the Lord has favorites. So let me get this. This is Hosea chapter 12 and verse 10. And it says, "I have spoken by the prophets, and I have multiplied visions and used similitudes by the ministry of the prophets." Now I want to get this word for similitudes. It says Dama, which when you go into this Damawath, which means in his image or in his likeness, to be like. All right, and it says to resemble, to use similitudes, because again, the Lord works with regeneration. So what someone did in one lifetime, they come back doing the same thing in another lifetime. So we see that Yahweh Shai, he built a temple, you see, and the third temple is being built, off that chief cornerstone, going back into regeneration. All right, let me get Wisdom of Solomon chapter 9 in verse 7. It says, "Thou hast chosen me to be king over thy people, and a judge of thy sons and daughters. Thou hast commanded me to build a temple upon thy holy mount." All right, holy means separate. That's what the Lord chose. he separated that specific mountain because that was the mountain, that he chose. It says, and an altar in the city wherein thou dwellest, a resemblance of the holy tabernacle which thou hast prepared from the beginning. And what else was prepared from the beginning? The elect was sanctified from the beginning. That's the third temple. So it says, and wisdom was with thee, which knoweth thy works, and was present when thou madest the world, and knew what was acceptable in thy sight, and right in thy commandments. All right, everything is spiritual, All right, let me get Second Esdras. We get Second Esdras chapter 9. Second Esdras chapter 9 and verse 8. Just proving that point because we just got this right here. It says, read verse 8. This is Wisdom of Solomon chapter 9 and verse 8. It says, thou hast commanded me to build a temple upon thy holy mount. All right, Moriah. All right, Mount Moriah, chosen by the Lord, and an altar in the city wherein thou dwellest, a resemblance of the holy tabernacle which thou hast prepared from the beginning. All right, and what's the holy tabernacle that was prepared from the beginning? All right, that third temple. And it says, this is Second Esdras chapter 9 and verse 8. It says, shall be verse 7, and everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith whereby ye have believed shall be preserved from the said perils, and shall see my salvation in my land within my borders, for I have sanctified them from the beginning. All right, they were separate, the elect. All right, they was separate, they was chosen. Moriah means chosen. All right, so let's get First Kings. Get First Kings chapter 7. We get verse 21, and it says, and he set up the pillars in the porch of the temple, because the Lord is very meticulous and strategic. It says, this is First Malachium, also Kings chapter 7 and verse 23. It said, verse 21. And he set up the pillars in the porch of the temple, and he set up the right pillar and called the name Yakyan, and he set up the left pillar and called the name thereof Baais. All right, which Yakyan, that goes into and which, if I can add to, the gutter rats and the, like a lot of left hand different groups and stuff like that. They're fascinated with Solomon's temple. That's why they're trying to make, another temple, But moving on, it says Yakyan, all right, which means he will establish, or he establishes, because I'm gonna get this in the commentary. It says Yakyan, and then you got Baais. It says which Baais means in strength. Ba is in, Ais is strength. Which they don't go to it inside the Strongs, but when you go into the commentary, I'll tell you right here. Right. All right, and it says, go down to 21. It says 2 pillars. It says these impressive pillars were actually so noteworthy that they were given names. They were called Yakyan wa Ba'ais, which in Hebrew that's Jachin and Boaz. And it says the one on the right was given the name Jachin, Yakyan, meaning he shall establish, and the one on the left the name Boaz, Baais, in strength, meaning in strength. It says in practical terms, the pillars were to be an ever-present reminder to each successive king of the fact that he was ruling by God's appointment. All right, because the only reason that the elect is making it is through the grace of the Lord, and it says, and by His grace, and that in the Most High lay His strength. Just ought believers today to be ever mindful of the Most High's grace in their lives and utter dependence on Him. Now I want to look this word utter up real fast. Search the web. All right, it says complete, absolute, downright, out and out. Hey, totally. Hey, we totally depend on the Lord. We can't sit up here and say, oh, we're here because of this, we're here because of that. Everything was set. Each believer's life was set in a specific way to where, they're here today, you know. But it says some believe that the pillars. I'm skip down. It says every time someone came to the house of the Lord in the days of Shalimah, they said, "Look, there is he shall establish." It says, and there is in him is strength. So on the right you got it says Yakyan, Wa on the left. All right, Wa means and. All right, on the left it said Ba'ais. All right, so on the right hand it says he shall establish, or he establishes. All right, and then you got on the left in strength. All right, so it says in him is strength, you see. So it can also be read, he establishes in strength. All right, because the Lord establishes. All right, and then in him is also strength, because we utterly depend on the Lord, so both of those, everything comes from the Lord. So it says this set them in the right mind frame of set them in the right frame of mind to worship the Lord. That that put the believers in a space to where it's like, all right, hey, this is this is how you're supposed to live, ultimately keeping that in mind. This is pretty much how we make it, how we survive. So it says, when the crowds gathered at the morning and evening sacrifice to worship the Lord, the Levites let the people stand in the front of the temple with these two great bronze pillars behind them. It was always before them, he shall establish, and in him his strength. One could say the house of the Most High itself was Yakyan Wa Ba'ais. The temple was established by the Most High and built by the strength of the Most High. Right. Every time they looked at the temple, they knew that the Most High liked to establish and strengthen things. All right, Yasha'Allah. The Lord establishes and builds up. I'm gonna get that real fast. This is Second Ezra, Second Isaiah, chapter 6. It's a lot. Chapter 6 and verse 37. All right, and it reads, it says, hold on. Ban Sirach, chapter 6 and verse 37. And it reads, it says, let thy mind be upon the ordinances of the Lord, and meditate continually in his commandments. He shall establish thine heart and give thee wisdom at thine own desire. You see, so the Lord establishes, all right, and the Lord strengthens, So it reads, I'm going to continue on. It says, it says, the house of the Most High was a place where people experienced what the pillars were all about, and coming into this spiritual house. I'm going to get a scripture on that as well, but I'm going to keep going. It says, it's a lot. What's that? It says, at that house, people were established in their relationship with the Most High. At that house, people were given strength from the Lord. From this building, it should go out to the whole community. Come here and get established. Come here and receive the strength of the Most High. All right, and who is that house? All right, Yahweh Shah is that house. Let's get that. This is Tahoyim, Psalms, chapter 91. Let's get verse 1. It says, he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. All right, this is where strength and establishment comes from. Let me go back. All right, let's get it in NLT. It says, those who live in the shelter of the Most High shall find rest in the shadow of the Almighty. All right, what is the shelter of the Lord? All right, these scriptures. And who is also the scriptures? Yahweh Shah. All right, and the scriptures also refer to him as the chief cornerstone. All right, let me get another one. Let's get Ephesians chapter 2, and we get verse 20. It says, verse 19, it says, now therefore ye are no more strangers and foreigners, but fellow citizens with the saints and of the household of the Most High. All right, because we all part of that one body. So it says, and which is strangers and the foreigners. Let's go into the Israelite foreigners, you see, because they were taking hold to the customs in the different lands we've been scattered to. And it says, and built upon the foundations of the apostles and prophets, and Yahweh Shah Hamashiach himself being the chief cornerstone, and in whom all building fitly framed together groweth unto an holy temple in the Lord, in whom ye also are builded together for an habitation of the Most High through the Spirit. So the third temple is spiritual. All right, it's the elect. All right, let's get 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 4. It says, to whom coming as I'm starting verse 1. It says, wherefore, laying aside all malice and all guile and hypocrisies and envies and all evil speakings, as newborn babes, desire the sincere milk of the word, that ye may grow thereby, if so be ye have tasted that the Lord is gracious, to whom coming as unto a living stone, disallowed indeed of men, but chosen of the Most High. All right, there got that word chosen again. It says, to whom coming as a living stone, disallowed indeed of men. All right, chiefly the Lord was disallowed. I'm gonna get this word for disallowed. Rejected. All right, the Lord is rejected. All right, you see, but we dwell in the Lord. The elect is dwelling in the Lord. Lord is, will we be those men? You see, but the Lord was chiefly disallowed. You see, but that word chosen. All right, who's chosen? The elect. That third temple. And it says, in precious, yea, also as lively stones are built up a spiritual house and holy priesthood. All right, because the regeneration is a foreshadowing. All right, the first and the second temple. All right, that third temple is a spiritual house and holy priesthood to offer up spiritual sacrifices acceptable to the Most High by Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. All right, so everything is spiritual. Keep going. I'm gonna keep going. It says, wherefore also it is contained in the scripture, behold, I lay in Zion a chief cornerstone, elect, precious, and he that believeth on him shall not be confounded. Unto you therefore which believe, he is precious, but unto them which be disobedient, the stone which the builders disallowed, the same is made the head of the corner. All right, Yahweh Shah. All right, let's get Mark chapter 14 and verse 58. It says, we heard him say, I will destroy this temple that is made with hands, and within 3 days I will build another made without hands. Talking about that spiritual temple which is being made today. You see, and it's also spiritual. That yeah, that's pretty much the point. Yeah, it says within 3 days I will build another made without hands. All right, so essentially, that talking about that third temple, because the scriptures say that 3 day, or I'm gonna actually go to it. Revelation chapter 11 and verse 8. 11. It says, and after 3 days and an half, the spirit of life from the Most High entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. All right, going into that spiritual temple, you see, but 3 days and a half, that's still in the third day, So going back, this is Acts chapter 7 and verse 48. All right, it says, howbeit the Most High dwelleth not in temples. I'm going to start from verse 46. It says, who found favor? Verse 45, it says, which also, verse 44, it says, our fathers had the tabernacle of witness in the wilderness as he had appointed. All right, let me get this in another version. It says, our fathers had a tabernacle of witness in the wilderness as he had appointed, speaking unto Moses. Actually, I want to get the word, yeah. To arrange, appoint, give order. All right, let me go back. It says, our fathers had the tabernacle of witness in the wilderness as he had appointed, speaking unto Moses that he should make it according to the fashion that he had seen. Because the Lord is very strategic. It says, which also our fathers that came after brought in with Yahweh Shah into the possession of the Gentiles, whom the Most High drave out before the face of our fathers unto the days of David, who found favor before the Most High and desired to find a tabernacle for the God of Jacob. All right, so King David, he wanted to build a temple, or he wanted to build a house for the Lord. But Shalamah built him an house. All right, the first temple. Howbeit the Most High dwelleth not in temples made with hands, as saith the prophet. So the Lord, he doesn't dwell in temples made with hands. Because those two temples, they were a spiritual foreshadowing of what was to come. All right, going to that third temple. All right, Salah. All right, keep reading. Let me get this precept. This is Ibarium, or Ibaryah, Hebrews chapter 3, we get verse 6. It says, but Yahweh Shah, but Hamashiach, as a son over his own house, whose house are we? All right, because Hamashiach, again, he is that temple. All right, he's that chief cornerstone. It says, but Hamashiach, as the Son is in charge of the Most High's entire house, and we are the Most High's house, are that third temple, if we keep our courage and remain confident in our hope in Hamashiach. All right. In KJV it says, but Hamashiach as Son over his own house, whose house we are, if we hold fast the confidence and the rejoicing of hope firm to the end. Keeping that confidence. All right, let's get this. Look at this one more time. This is Thabnayath, Psalm chapter 91. In verse 1 it says, he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. All right, and that secret place again is the house of the Lord. Now I want to get that word for house. All right, that word for house, it says house, dwelling, habitation. It says shelter. All right, he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide in the shadow of the Almighty. All right, which that when we got that in another version, it said Psalms 91 in verse 1. Oh, I think it was verse 2. Oh. NLT, it says, those who live in the shelter of the Most High will find rest in the shadow of the Almighty. All right, in that shelter, all right, essentially abide in this truth. All right, because again, going back to Genesis chapter 7 and verse 1, getting that word for house. All right, and it reads, it says house, dwelling, habitation. All right, because where you live at is how essentially what you put on, how you live, how you pretty much carry yourself. It says inwards, on the inside, we got to be born again. It says inwards metaphorically. It says household affairs. All right. It says, which this word can be applied to the greatest applications with right here, It says house of the Most High, temple. That third temple, a spiritual temple, which is the elect. It says dwelling, habitation, the inner part, what is inside, persons living together in the house, those sprung from any family, descendants, offspring, going into the the sons and daughters, chiefly the sons. Yeah, pretty much that was the point. You had the first temple, Bayat Shah Solomon's temple. You had the second one that was rededicated. All right, during the time of the Maccabean revolt. All right, and you got the third one, which is spiritual. All right, which is the elect. You see, which is a spiritual temple. You see, because the Lord doesn't dwell in temples that made with hands. You see. Yeah, I just wanted to go into that. Adawan Tazazah by Naib Lord's with us, beautiful edification through the spirit. Wadawan Tazah, Adam Yashawan Tawaba. A Lord's will you all have a good day. A call Laim La Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shah, Bahasham Chahakodash. Double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that told me this truth and rule well. And much respect to you, bros, out there pushing this truth with all righteousness and sincerity. Shalom, shalom. Wa Yahweh Mahar. La Bachayarim. A Godspeed to the elect. Shalom, shalom.